All the steam to Yahuwah. All the steam to Yahuwah. Big facts, baby. All the steam to Yahuwah, man. Shalom, shalom, Mitch Pop. I pray that all is magnificently well. In Yahuwah. Bahashan Yahuwah. In the name of Yahuwah. Big facts, all the steam to Yahuwah. Barak Yahusha HaMashiach. So, as the title says, why I believe Yahuwah is Yahusha. Why does it matter? That's the biggest thing. A lot of people say it doesn't matter. But if you really think about the situation, it definitely matters. For some of us, it has absolutely no, we'll figure that out when Yahuwah reveals it. But for the brethren who are in the Old Testament and are on Yahuwah's word, where Yahuwah said he did this by himself, Yahuwah said he did that by himself, I can understand completely where they're coming from and what they're getting at. But this is just where that precept upon precept comes into play. That line upon line. Not calling them stupid or anything like that, but they got a little more digging to do, or Yahuwah will reveal it to them in his most perfect time. But we got some scripts to go over, so we're going to jump right into it. All this thing to Yahuwah. Shalom, sis. Hallelujah, Yahuwah, Kirk. Big facts. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. So we'll jump right into it. First and foremost, the milk. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. Yahuwah is one. That's part of the Shema. If you go to Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4 through 9, that's the Shema, O Yahshua, the prayer that we should all be teaching our children. And it starts off with saying, Hear, O Yahshua, Yahuwah Alua, Yahuwah is one. That's first and foremost. So now we see way back when the law was first given to us, it says that Yahuwah is one. So now how people make it 2 and 3 out of that, I have absolutely no idea. But Yahuwah himself told us he is one. Let's continue on. Isaiah 44 and 24 I got written down. Let's see what's going on in Isaiah 44, 24. And it says, Thus says Yahuwah, your Redeemer, and he that formed you from the womb. I am Yahuwah that makes all things, that stretches forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth the earth abroad by myself. All the stay to Yahuwah. So now we hear this verse, Yahuwah is clearly speaking that he did all this stuff by himself. So where was Yahusha at this time? Let's continue on. And once again, no way am I denying Yahusha at all. Big facts. So we just got to get the understanding of why Yahusha is Yahuwah, why Yahuwah is Yahusha. Because once again, we see that here, Yahuwah said he did all things by himself. Period. That's cut. That's in the stone. Ain't no changing that. Let's continue on. Now we're going to take it back a little bit to Isaiah 42 and 8. And what does it say? I'm coming out the Sefer just so everybody can see. I'm coming out the Sefer. All this thing to Yahuwah. You feel me? And people complain about the KJV. I got that baby right here too. But you know they complain about that. So we're going to eat from here. We're going to eat the manna from here. So Isaiah 42 and 8. It says, I am Yahuwah. That is my name. And my glory will I not give to another. Neither my praise to graven images. So Yahuwah just said he's not going to give his praise to nobody. His esteem, his glory, any of his power, any of his magnificence to nobody. But let's go to Matthew 28:18 right quick. And let's see what's going on right here. Because we're going to have to figure something out. And this is, once again, what's leading our bros. Big fast, Aki, that's in the book of John. If you have seen Yahusha, you have seen the Father. That's what Yahusha said. So how people getting around that, I couldn't tell you. But anywho, Matthew, chapter 28, verse 18. Now, we just read in Isaiah, Yahuwah said that he's not going to give his power, his esteem, his glory to no one. This is what Yahuwah said. What does it say right here in Matthew 28:18? It says, And Yahusha came and spoke unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Well, wait. Yahuwah just said he's not going to give his power to anyone. Nobody else is going to get his power but himself. That's what he said. So why are we seeing Yahusha saying that all power has been given to him? Let's continue on. We're going to keep going on. We at Daniel 7:13 and 14. We're going to pull out all this good meat because, you know, I'm not going to stray away from the scripts that they're using to say that he's not Yahuwah or a version of Yahuwah, put it that way. Because we all know Yahuwah is magnificent and Yahuwah is invisible. So therefore, he made a visible form of himself to come and dwell with mankind. This is what Scripture says. And we're going to jump right into that. So, Daniel, chapter 7, verse 13 and 14, I'm going to start at. And it says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Hallelujah. So now we see that it says that the like of Son of Man came to the Ancient of Days. So this is what they're trying to say, that there's two of them. We gotta get the full understanding of what's going on. Let's continue on though. We see right here that it says that it's talking about this Son of Man being brought to Yahuwah. What does it say in verse 21? I beheld the same horn, made war with the Kodeshim and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the Kodeshim of Yahuwah. So wait a minute. Now we just see that they just said the Son of Man came to the Ancient of Days. But it just says right here that the serpent is going to prevail against us until the Ancient of Days come. So wait a minute. Who's coming? Is Yahuwah coming or is Yahusha coming? And what's the difference between them? This is what I'm trying to see, because it clearly just says the Ancient of Days came. This is what's happening when people take out scriptures and stop where they want to stop. Everybody who's using Daniel 7, 13, and 14 to say they're different, they're not going to verse 22. How come? Very convenient, correct? Because this clearly says until the Ancient of Days came. Well, who is the Ancient of Days? There's only one Ancient of Days that I know of. Big facts. All esteem to Yahuwah. And let's keep going on. We're going to go to verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the Kodeshim of Yahuwah, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Well, wait. It just told us over here in verse 14 that the dominion, the everlasting kingdom is this Son of Man's, quote unquote. But it just said over here that it's Yahuwah's. Which one is it? Is it Yahuwah's or is it the quote unquote Son of Man? Or are they both the same? Big facts. Let's continue on. We're going to hit Isaiah 40 and 25. We're going to be going back and forth because like they always say, get a witness from the Old Testament and a witness from the New Testament. Oh yeah, we on that over here. Big fat. So where we at? Isaiah 40 and 25. Script say, to whom then will ye liken me? Or shall I be equal to? Says the Kadash one. So Yahuwah saying, who you going to liken me to? Who you going to say I'm like? Who you going to say has the power that I have? Who you going to say has the ability or the wisdom that I have? Let's continue on. Philippians. We're going to go to Philippians chapter 2. We're going to touch it right there. Excuse me, let me pull them up. We're going to touch on right there. Philippians chapter 2. And we hitting that, we starting at verse 5. Excuse my slang, y'all. We starting at verse 5. And it says, and there, excuse me, I'm not in 1 Corinthians, excuse me. Let me get to that. Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahushua HaMashiach, who being in the form of Yah, that's a stinger right there. Yahushua HaMashiach, who being in the form of Yah, thought it not robbery to make himself equal with Yahuwah. Well, Yahuwah just said, who you going to liken me equal to? Who you going to say is like me? So why is the scriptures right here saying that Yahushua HaMashiach thought it not robbery to make himself equal? But furthermore, why is it saying in verse 6, Yahushua HaMashiach was in the form of Yah? What does that mean? What does that mean, in the form of Yah? That is literally telling us that Yahushua HaMashiach was Yahuwah's physical form. This is what this is telling us. He came in the form of Yah. This is why he told us in John, when you see me, you see Yahuwah. Because he is the form of Yah. The first of all Yahuwah's creation was a visible image of himself. Yahuwah, and we're going to get to all that. Yahuwah is an invisible spirit. Scriptures tell us all about that. So how then can one think that they can see Yahuwah unless Yahuwah makes himself visible? Period. And if Yahuwah doesn't make himself visible, he would have to send another quote-unquote God, deity, which I don't like to use the word God, but he would have to send someone else then if he didn't make himself visible. Then he would be giving his power and his esteem to someone else. But no, he said, to keep all my words true, I'm going to create a visible image of myself and transfer all my power and all my might and all my wisdom to him. And we're going to get that in Isaiah as well. Absolutely. Big facts. And this is just what we're dealing with. We're only dealing with the scripts, man. Let's continue on. Verse 7. Although he likened himself equal to Yahuwah, it said, but he made no reputation for himself, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. That right there clearly says he wasn't a man. He was made in the likeness of men. It doesn't say we were made in the likeness of men, because we are men and women. All this things to Yahuwah. But it says that he was made in the likeness of a man. Big facts. Come down, oh Yahuwah. You better believe it. Aki, shout out. Greg, shout out. Big facts. All the things to Yahuwah. And shout out to everybody tuned in, man. All the things to Yahuwah. So let's continue on. And being found in fashion as a man, wasn't a man though. He humbled himself unto death, even the death of the stake. Remember, Yahuwah came down to be an example for us, to show us exactly what we are to do to get to him and how to please him. Our people thought committing sins and then killing animals was how you please Yahuwah. That is not how you please Yahuwah. So Yahuwah said, you know what? And it's also going to tell us this in Hebrews when we get there. He talked to us before times in the prophets, but we couldn't understand the prophets, just like today. So Yahuwah came down to give us a physical example, just like it always says, lead by example, correct? Where did we get that from? We get that from our Lord. He led by example. He took on the form of a human to show us that humans can do it. Because just like today, the Christian church saying nobody can keep the law. Back in the day, the Pharisees were saying nobody could keep the law. So Yahuwah said, I got you. I'm going to prove to you that if I put my spirit in you, you will walk in my law. That's Ezekiel 36:25. Big fact. So let's continue on. We almost through with this chapter. Wherefore Yahuwah also highly exalted him, and giving him the name which is above every name. Well, that's another esteem. A part of Yahuwah's esteem is his name. Well, how come Yahuwah gave Yahusha his name? But he just said he ain't giving his power to nobody else. All the things to Yahuwah. Let's continue on. Verse 10. That at the name of Yahusha, every knee shall bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. And that every tongue should confess that Yahuwah is Yahusha HaMashiach, to the esteem of Yahuwah. This is word for word in the Sefer. I'm not adding anything. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can show y'all. I don't know if y'all can see that right there where it says, verse 11, and that every tongue should confess that Yahuwah is Yahusha. So, all this thing to Yahuwah. Big brute fast. And that's just the Sefer version. Let's continue on. Every tongue should confess that Yahuwah is Yahusha, to the esteem of Yahuwah, the Father. So how do you esteem Yahuwah? By calling on Yahusha. Because Yahusha's name means Yahuwah is salvation. So even when he came here, he made no point to make a name for himself or to build his own name up. His whole name declares Yahuwah. All esteem to Yahuwah. Yahuwah is salvation. All right, let's continue on. Isaiah 11, 1 through 4. Now this is how we're going to prove that from birth, Yahuwah had put that Ruach, that all his fullness in this man from birth. Continue on, excuse me, not man, in Yahusha from birth. Where we at? Isaiah 11, 1 through 4. Let's pull that up. Yahu 11, 1 through 4. And it says, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, or Yeshai, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Ruach Yahuwah shall rest upon him. The Ruach Chachma, or understanding, the wisdom, and Binyah, or understanding, the Ruach of truth, the Ruach of supreme, the Ruach of the and the Ruach of Yerah, and the Ruach of Yahuwah. And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahuwah. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. This says from birth, when this child, he will have all the spirits of Yahuwah put upon him, and he will not judge after his own eyes or his own ears. So what is he judging by? If he's not judging the things that he's seeing, or he's not judging by the things that he's seeing or hearing, what is he judging by? Whatever the Ruach of Yahuwah is telling him. This is Yahuwah in the flesh. This is Yahuwah governing this body. This body had basically no thoughts of his own. This is why every time it spoke, he either spoke from the point of Yahuwah or he spoke from the point of Yahusha as a servant of Yahuwah. He never spoke like me and you speak, or like Paul and spoke. He never spoke like that. He always spoke the word of Yahuwah. Why? Because he is the word of Yahuwah. Absolutely. Big facts, Aki. Yaakov wrestled with Yahusha. And that's all back in the Old Testament when he wrestled with that angel here in the form of man. Yahuwah. Big facts. Let's continue on though. Colossians, and we're going to back this up with a New Testament proof. Colossians chapter 2, verse 9. And as I said, I'm in the Sefer this time. I don't have my computer. I'm moving, as y'all see back here. I'm boxing up all this thing to Yahuwah though. Big facts. So, where we at? Excuse me. Colossians chapter 2, verse 9. And it says, for in him dwells all the fullness of Yahuwah in a bodily form. This is what the scripture says. It says in Yahusha, all the fullness of Yahuwah in a bodily form is dwelling in this man. Nobody on this earth can say that has ever happened. No one on this earth can say that all the fullness of Yahuwah is dwelling in them. Who can say that? Only one, Yahusha. Because why? He was Yahuwah, the form of Yahuwah, the physical form of Yahuwah. Let's continue on, man. It gets super deep, and what I got is not even the surface. But what I got, Yahuwah willing, all this thing to Yahuwah, what Yahuwah put on these papers, man, I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be able to see. Bit fast. John 4:24, just to back up what I had said, that Yahuwah is spirit. And I'm sure we all know it, but like I said, we dealing with the scripts. Forget man, we dealing with the scripts. Verse 24, Yahuwah is Ruach, and they that worship him must worship him in Ruach and in truth. Okay, so if Yahuwah is Ruach, you know we can't see the spirit unless the spirit is made flesh. Let's go to Colossians chapter 1, verse 15 through 17. And let's see what's going on right here in Colossians chapter 1, verse 15 through 17. And we clearly see that Yahuwah is a spirit. Excuse me. We clearly see that Yahuwah is a spirit. You can't see a spirit unless the spirit is manifested in the flesh. I'm trying to find these on tabs. Colossians chapter 1, verse 15 through 17. All this thing to Yahuwah. Now it says, Yahusha is the image of the invisible Yah. This is right here in the Torah, right here in the Sefer. Who is the image of the invisible Yah, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. Well, wait a minute. I thought all things was created by Yahuwah. So now we got to understand what this is telling us. This is telling us that this man in the flesh, quote unquote, was Yahuwah. By him, all things were made power. By Yahuwah, all things were brought into place. By himself, for himself, this is what he did it for. This is what they were likening Yahusha to. This is why they wanted to kill him for blasphemy. They said he was blaspheming, calling himself the Most High in the flesh. But he really was, though, if you really get to understand it. Big fast, let's continue on. John chapter 14:9, which Aki just brought up. But like I said, we going through the book. And we're going to see what the Most High word say, man. Cause it's a lot of confusion. And like I said, the main reason it means something is because a lot of our brothers are falling away from Yahusha because they haven't got the understanding that Yahusha is Yahuwah in the flesh. Let's continue on. So verse 6, John chapter 14, verse 6. We're going to go from 6 to 9. Yahusha said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father but by me. If ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also. And from henceforth ye know him and have seen him. What? Wait a minute. What? You have known him and have seen him. So Philip wasn't satisfied with that, though. Philip wasn't satisfied with that. So what Philip said? Philip said unto Yahusha, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Man, we'll believe you once you show us Yahuwah. What Yahusha said, verse 9. And Yahusha said unto him, have I been so long time with you, and yet you have not known me, Philip? He that has seen me has seen the Father. How say you then show us the Father? So, now this is a lot we can get from this one thing. When he asked Yahusha to show him the Father, Yahuwah spoke through Yahusha at that time and said, Philip, have I been long with you this time and you don't even know me? You see me, you see Yahuwah. How can we then not say that Yahuwah is Yahusha in the flesh? Big facts. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of time people taking their own understanding of what this mean and what that mean. Man, we taking this thing word for word. I don't have anything extra to put in these scripts. I'm not Yahuwah. We all know this. So he says that if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. What does this mean? I can't say if you see me, you see Yahuwah. I'm sure none of y'all can. Because we are not Yahuwah in the flesh. Big facts. We are not Yahuwah in the flesh. But Yahushua HaMashiach was certainly Yahuwah in the flesh. It's not even a question. But while he was on the flesh, he is omnipresent. Remember this. Yahuwah is omnipresent, omnipower, omni-magnificent. So while he was here in the flesh, he was on that throne. He was over there in Jamaica somewhere. He was everywhere at one time. He's still everywhere at one time. He and me, he and you, he is what's holding all life together. So how can we think that this omnipower, this magnificent power of Yahuwah cannot manifest himself into the flesh? What are you talking about? What Yahuwah are you referring to? Because the Yahuwah that I know, listen, there's nothing too hard for the king. Big fast. All right, let's continue on, man. All this thing to Yahuwah. Once again, John 14:9, Yahusha told him, when you see me, you see the Father. That's separating Yahusha from all of us. None of us can say, when you see me, you see Yahuwah. Who can? You can't. I can't. Big fast. Let's keep going on. All this thing to Yahuwah. And the verse I posted yesterday, which caused a lot of backlash, not yesterday, the day before, which really inspired this video. I was staying to Yahuwah, because I had another one ready for Shabbat, but I'm still going to do it, Yahuwah willing. But Yahuwah said just throw this in the middle, because ain't no such thing as working too much for the king. Big fat. I was staying to Yahuwah. So, 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16, and it says, and without controversy, great, is this topic not controversial? without controversy. I mean, this thing got plenty controversy. Great is the mystery of righteousness. Yahuwah was manifest in the flesh. Again, it says it right here in the Sefer, word for word. Yahuwah was manifest in the flesh, righteous in the Ruach, seen of angels, preached on to the other nations, believed on in the world, received up into esteem or glory. This is a huge verse that a lot of people want to say it was Elohim. First of all, the word Elohim means plural gods. Yahuwah is not plural. He just told us in Deuteronomy he's one. When you go to the ancient word, it's Aluah. And Aluah is mighty one with divine powers. It has nothing to do with no plural deities. See, this is the confusion right here. People thinking that it's saying it's multiple. Absolutely false. That's their belief. That's their all these different deities that they believe in. The ancient word is Aluah or Elohim. And it means mighty one with divine powers, meaning nobody can top his power, nobody can match it, and you sure can't pass it. All the stage to Yahuwah, you feel me? So this is the difference. This is why we gotta check the Ruach, man, and take it to Yahuwah, because when they come with Elohim, especially in John 1, which we about to get to, actually is next. So when they come with the word Elohim, it makes it sound like it's talking about plural, different deities, when actually it says mighty one, single, with divine powers. That's a big difference than saying plural gods. No, Elohim is plural, and it's no, it's not. See, that's false understanding. You got to study Hebrew, and obviously you haven't, Aki, and once again, it has nothing to do with me. But definitely take it to Yahuwah, because Elohim is plural. Aluah or Elohim is singular, and Elohim should not be plural. It should not be used ever when concerning Yahuwah, because Yahuwah just told us he's one. So how you or me or anybody going to take a word and says, okay, I'm going to apply this to Yahuwah, and it means plural, but Yahuwah just told me he's one. Come on, Aki. Being Israel, we got to use our brain, Aki, and you know it's all love. It's no debating. It's all love. I come in peace, Aki, bit fast. You feel me? So with that being said, you got to take that to Yahuwah. Yahuwah is not plural. He's one. That's what the king told me. That's what I'm rocking with. Bit fast. So, as I said, John, chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. Yahukanan is his Abri name. Yahukanan. Chapter 1, verse 3. 1 through 3, excuse me. In the beginning was the Debar, or the Word. And the Word was with Aluah. That's what it should say. It says Elohim, but once again, confusion of the plural. And the Word was with Aluah. Who was Aluah? Yahuwah, the mighty one with divine powers. Let's keep going. And the Word was Yahuwah. So let's break this down right quick. What is this word saying? How can the Word be with Yahuwah and be Yahuwah at the same time? Big fast, good question. All you got to do is understand the context. In the beginning was the Word. Before anything, it was Yahuwah. Before anything came about, Yahuwah was always there. The Word was with him, meaning that everything he spoke was for his good, was for his plan, was for his will. Everything he spoke was for his will. And what does it say? The Word was Yahuwah. Why? Because the scriptures tell us all through the word of Yahuwah is Yahuwah. There's no question about it. Let's go on to where I'm at, verse 14. Now we just established that the Word was with Yahuwah, and the Word is Yahuwah. The Word is for Yahuwah, the Word is the will of Yahuwah. Big fast. So, what does verse 14 say in John chapter 1? And the Word was made flesh and tabernacled amongst us. What? Cut and dry, clear like that? No, I can't say that, ZakarYahu. Oh yeah, bit fast can say that. The Word was made flesh and tabernacled among us. That word tabernacle is going to come in a huge play when we go to Revelation. Yahuwah with me. That word tabernacle, try to keep that in mind somewhere, store that thing. That word tabernacle is going to play a huge part. And the Word was made flesh and tabernacled amongst us. And we beheld his esteem. The esteem as the only begotten one of the Father, full of grace and of truth. So it just tells us in verse 1 through 3 that Yahuwah was the Word. Then it tells us in verse 14 that the Word was made flesh. Who was made flesh? See, the only confusion in this passage is that word Elohim, as I just spoke on. It's saying plural deities, and that's nowhere near Yahuwah, because we just heard Yahuwah tell us he's one once again. So why are they telling us that it's plural? Who we going to believe? I'm going to understand and believe Yahuwah. Big fast, baby. All right, let's keep going on. Who we at? I'll stay to Yahuwah. We're going back to Exodus now. We're going back to the OT, to the original covenant. Exodus 34. 1 through 6. I got it written down right here. Where I got 1 through 6. Oh no, 1 through 4, then 6. Big fast. Okay, so let's get an establish of what's going on right here. Yahuwah talking to Musha or Moses. Yahu 42:13. I think I got that somewhere in here, Aki. I'm going to check. If not, I'm going to definitely Yahuwah with it. I'm going to just jot it down right quick. But I think I got that in here. Isaiah 42:13. All right. So, Exodus 34. 1 through 4 first. And Yahuwah said to Musha, hew you 2 sapphire stones like unto the first. And I will write upon these sapphires the words that were in the first sapphires which you broke. Now wait, let's back up right here. Yahuwah just told a man, Musha, to hew 2 sapphire tablets. And he, Yahuwah, will write on them. This is what's just being said. I didn't make that up. Let me read it again. It says, and I will write upon these sapphires the words that were in the first sapphires which you broke. This is Yahuwah saying that he's going to write on them. So how is he going to write on them? How is Yahuwah going to write on them? Let's continue on. I'll stay to you. Oh, baby. We're going to go straight to verse 2. And be in the morning, and come up in the morning, and be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me in the top of the mount. And we're going to go straight to verse 6, because we see Yahuwah just told Musha to get 2 tablets, bring them to him. He's going to write on it. This is going to prove that Yahuwah has came down to this earth more than one time. See, people don't want to deal with these type of things. I don't understand why, but scriptures is clear. We're going to write the Exodus 34 and 6, I believe we right here right now. 34, 4 through 6. And he hewed 2 sapphire stones like unto the first. And Musha rose up early in the morning and went up to Mount Sinai as Yahuwah had commanded him, and took in his hands the 2 sapphire stones. And Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood there with him. This is the scripts. Big fact. This says Yahuwah descended in a cloud and stood there with him. Well, I don't know how much more clear that could get. How did Yahuwah stand there with him if he wasn't in some type of form to stand? He wasn't in the form of a cloud, because it just said he descended in the cloud and stood there with him. Let's continue on. Let's continue on. Verse 5. And while he was standing there with him, and Yahuwah descended in the cloud and stood there with him, and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. So Yahuwah came down in a cloud, proclaimed his own name. Doesn't that sound like something Yahusha did? Yahusha came down, proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. Oh yeah, he's coming back too, Aki. Big facts. All this thing to Yahuwah, he's definitely coming back. So Yahuwah came down in the cloud, proclaimed his name. Yahusha came down, not in the cloud, but he proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. That's a direct link right there. Big facts. We can't deny that. Yahuwah came to declare his name right here in Exodus 34, and Yahusha came to declare Yahuwah's name. That's a direct link. Those two are matching right there. Let's continue on. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19. We're going back. Now we see Yahuwah here on the mountain himself. We see he just came down and stood with Musha right there and told Musha he was going to write on the tablets. How is he going to write on the tablets if he's not here? What is he going to, I mean, he can't, of course, I'm not even going to say that. Yahuwah can't do whatever he want to do. You big fast, he can do whatever he want to do. But he did all these things. Everything Yahuwah did was for an admonition of us. For an example for us. Something for us to go by tangible. Because he knows that we can't see him. So he did things that we can look back on and be like, wow, all this thing to Yahuwah. So, Exodus chapter 19, verse 18. And it says, and Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because Yahuwah descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended up as the smoke of a furnace. And the whole mountain quaked greatly. So that's another instance that Yahuwah, this is just matching what I just said. Yahuwah came down here more than one time. When he was on the top of that mountain, people think it was just clouds and smoke and burning fire. No, that was Yahuwah standing there. Boy, Yahuwah's a consuming flame. Y'all remember when he came down and talked to Musha from the burning bush? So if Yahuwah can come down, if Yahuwah can, since we know that Yahuwah can come down in the form of a flame that did not consume the bush, how can you tell me he did not come down in the form of a man? I can't understand what people are missing with that part right there. Maybe it's something that I'm missing of why they understand that. But I know if my great Alua came down in a fire and spoke to Musha, matter of fact, I got something else to pull out of that. I'll stay to Yahuwah. Because you know, hold on, matter of fact, stay right there, hold up. My bad. Had to get that situated. All this thing to you. So now we're gonna go somewhere right quick. This ain't off topic, but I mean it matches perfect. This is going to prove that although they call Yahusha the son of Yahuwah, that does not negate or cancel out the fact that he is Yahuwah in the flesh. Watch, we're gonna prove it right here in Exodus chapter 3. We're gonna prove it in Exodus chapter 3, verse 2 through 4. Listen closely now, because it's wordplay. All is stayed to Yahuwah. The Malakim can take on the form of a man as they please. Is there any matter too hard for Yahuwah? Big fast, Aki. I was going there. You beat me to it. I was going there, Aki. The angels can take on the form of a man. Remember they did that in the book of in Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot. I believe it was Genesis and Lot. When the two angels took on the form of a man and came to pull Lot out, being Israel, you keep putting these scriptures. Aki, you just don't have the right understanding. I'm not denying any of these scriptures that you're putting up here. I appreciate you putting the scriptures up, but I would appreciate it more if you had the proper understanding of the scriptures, Aki. All this thing to Yahuwah, because you're putting scriptures that may seem a certain way, but it's not. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. You got to get the understanding. Yahusha is Yahuwah in the flesh. No flesh is in Shemayim, but we do know that Yahusha is Yahuwah in the flesh. Let's continue on though, Aki. Exodus chapter 3. Verse 2 through 4. As I was saying, although the scriptures call Yahusha the son of Yahuwah, he still is Yahuwah. We're going to prove that although the scriptures call the angel of Yahuwah, it's still talking about Yahuwah. So just because it refers to Yahuwah as the angel of Yahuwah or Yahusha as the son of Yahuwah, that does not stop that from being Yahuwah. Perfect example. Exodus, Shemot, chapter 3, verse 2 through 4. We're going to just read 2 first and then pause. And the angel of Yahuwah, this is how it starts. And the angel of Yahuwah appeared unto him in a flame out of the midst of a thorn bush. And he looked and beheld, and the thorn bush burned with fire, but the thorn bush was not consumed. I bet that boy was like, what's going on? All this thing to Yahuwah. So now, and Musha said, so wait, hold on, excuse me. We see right here that it just said the angel of Yahuwah appeared to him in the midst of a thorny bush. The angel of Yahuwah, that's what it said, right? All right, let's keep going on. Verse 4. We skip verse 3 and verse 4. And when Yahuwah saw that Musha turned aside to see, Yahuwah called to him out of the midst of the thorny bush. Well, wait. It just said the angel of Yahuwah was talking to Musha out of the thorny bush. Now it just said Yahuwah was talking to Musha. Well, which one is it? See, that's just a perfect example of how just because it says a certain title of Yahuwah, angel of Yahuwah, son of Yahuwah, that does not mean it's not Yahuwah in the flesh. Once again, it just said in verse 2, the angel of Yahuwah appeared unto him in the flame. Then it said, Yahuwah spoke to him out of the flame. Which one is it? You got to get that understanding. Yahusha is Yahuwah in the flesh. Let's continue on though. I skipped a little bit. Genesis 11, 4 through 5. Another instant that Yahuwah came down. Bros want witnesses. I'm all for that. Big fast. I want witnesses too. All this thing to Yahuwah. Genesis. Bereshit. Chapter 11. Verses 4 through 5. All this thing, see for error. Once again, all this thing to you, man, Aki. I'm not going to address you no more, Aki, but it's all love, man. All this thing to you, a bit fast, Aki. I pray that Yahuwah reveal it to you, Ben Israel. If not, may Yahuwah have mercy, man. That's all I will continue to say. But anywho, Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 11, verse 4 through 5. And watch this. This is going to prove, once again, this is... And they said, who is they? Come. Let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach onto the heavens, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad the face of the whole earth. Now we know this is Nimrod, this is the Tower of Babel. So it says what, verse 5? And Yahuwah came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men built. Wait, it just said Yahuwah came down. It didn't say no angel of Yahuwah. It didn't say no son. It just said, and Yahuwah came down. So now what we're going to do and say Yahuwah didn't come down? Or we going to say that verse doesn't mean that? It doesn't mean Yahuwah came down? Because people say that Yahuwah never came off his throne. Yahuwah never came down to earth. That's a lie. All through the scriptures it says Yahuwah came down. And in the Old Testament, we're going to get to all that. Yahuwah got some meat right here. All this thing to Yahuwah. So Yahuwah came down to see. And Yahuwah came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built. Watch this. And Yahuwah said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. Now nothing will be restrained from them what they have imagined to do. Come, let us go down. Well, wait a minute. It just said Yahuwah was down here already. Why is he saying, let us go down? See, this is what we got to understand. Yahuwah created a tangible, physical form of himself to do the earthly works. Yahuwah, that big spirit that we got up there, the omnipresent being, he is too magnificent for us to look upon, just like scripture says. So what did he do? He humbled himself down into a body that we can look upon, a tangible body. But he, precept upon precept, big fast, Aki, all this thing to Yahuwah. So with that being said, he took on the form of his own creation, showing humble, all this thing to Yahuwah. All right, I'm going to get that, Aki. I got a lot of scripts, bro. I got like 50 scripts, so I'm going to try to get, matter of fact, let me see if I can write that down. what you said, Numbers 23:19. Let's see something. Numbers 23:19. After I get through with this, if Yahuwah remind me, I'll definitely pull that up, because I ain't trying to skate past no verses. I'm trying to get to the verses that everybody talking about that is proving that Yahuwah is not Yahusha. I see the exact opposite. I'll just stay to Yahuwah. Alright, but as we see right here in verse 5, Yahuwah came down himself. And then verse 7 it says, let us go down. Who was he talking to? Who was Yahuwah talking to? He was talking to the physical form of himself. He wasn't talking to nobody else, because he said he did it himself. He said he made everything by himself. So if he said he made everything by himself, why then do we hear somebody saying, come, let us go down? That us has to be that one, that Yahuwah as well. Otherwise, he took somebody else. All this thing to Yahuwah. Big fat. So we just going to get to what the script say. Not what I think, not what I understand it to say, what it says. Big fast. Let's keep going, because we got some more meat. We was at Genesis, Exodus, Jeremiah 32:27. Once again, we just heard he spoke from a flame, but it was the angel. But then later on in the next verse 4, it said it was Yahuwah. So that just goes to show that just because it says the son of Yahuwah, it does not mean that he is literally the son. Just like because it said the angel of Yahuwah does not mean it was an angel of Yahuwah. We have to understand what an angel is first, and that's a whole nother video. But anyway, Yahusha is Yahuwah. I'll stay to Yahuwah. Let's keep going. Jeremiah 32 verse 27. Yerem Yahu. Yerem Yahu 32:27. I was thinking to Yahuwah, because this is what Aki has said. Is there anything too hard for Yahuwah? Big fast, definitely not. But I just want to read it right quick. Jeremiah chapter 32 verse 27. Behold, I am Yahuwah, the allure of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? He's the allure of all flesh, so how do we think that he can't come and form himself in the flesh? We know that the scriptures say heaven and earth cannot contain Yahuwah, absolutely. Big fast, Barak Yahuwah, the heaven and earth cannot contain Yahuwah. So how then can you not think that he's in heaven and in all places of the earth and has manifested himself in the flesh? We have to understand the purpose of why he did that. Because if he would have sent anyone other than himself and gave this power to this person, then he would have just threw away everything he told us in the Old Testament. So he had to form a physical form of himself, a physical being of him, in order for all those scripts that we read to be true. Otherwise, then he would be giving his power to someone else. But he didn't. He gave his power to his physical self. This is all this is. I don't say elementary because I don't want to disrespect anybody. But he gave his power. Scripture said that Yahusha is the firstborn of Yahuwah's creation. And all things was made through him. How then do we think that Yahusha could have possibly came at any other time than before creation? And who was before creation? Yahuwah. Yahuwah created a physical form of himself. That was the first thing before he did anything. And this is who Yahusha is, a physical form of Yahuwah. Let's keep on. John chapter 1. Chapter 1, all this thing to Yahuwah. John chapter 1 verse 10 through 11. He was in the world, Yahuwah, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and they received him not. Goodness gracious, all this thing to Yahuwah. So this is right after I had, is there anything hard for Yahuwah? Of course not. He came into the world, went to his own people, and they received him not. This is exactly what this is telling us. Yahuwah came into the world, into his own people, and they rejected him, just like they did in the OT. Just like they did in the OT, man. Let's continue on. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 8. It's going to match right here with what we just said. He came in the world. His own did not know him. Now what happened? 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 7 through 8. And it says, but we speak the wisdom of Yah in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which Yahuwah ordained before the world, unto our esteem, which none of the princes of this world knew. For if they had known it, they would not have impelled the Yah of glory. This says the Yah of glory. Who is the Yah of glory? That's Yahuwah. All this thing to Yahuwah says they would not have impelled the Yah of glory. See, when we pull out verses like this from the Sefer, they try to tell us the Sefer made a wrong translation. But then they run to the KJV or they run to another book that come from the same people. Come on, man. We can't pick and choose what we want to believe. We got to take it to Yahuwah in prayer and fasting. That's the most important and the most valuable tool we have. Prayer and fasting. A lot of times our bros are reading this and taking it from the surface. They're not taking it to Yahuwah. 3 days of no food, no water. Straight pushing it through because you want that revelation. You got to get that. You got to put it in. If you want that, Akeem, you got to put that in. You got to fast. You got to restrain from that food, from that water. Let Yahuwah deal with you. And he'll show you these things because it's really simple. And once again, not exalting myself above anybody, because there's many of my bros that believe the same thing. And I'm sure they got the revelation the same way I got it. Prayer, fasting, meditation on the word. That's it. That's what you got to do. You cannot skip prayer and fasting and think you're going to get these revelations. And you can't just fast and say, I fasted. You got to fast for a certain revelation. Otherwise, you still won't get it. Let's continue on. Now, I just said he came to his own. If they would have known him, they wouldn't have killed him. Big fast, Aki, all this thing to Yahuwah. They wouldn't have killed him. So now we know in, oh, perfect. All this thing to Yahuwah. All this thing to Yahuwah. Yahusha, in the book of John, and I just went over this with my Aki, Greg, I was staying to Yahuwah. We went over this the other night. John chapter 18, verse, excuse me. John chapter 18, verse 6. It starts like this. And Yahusha, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. John chapter 18. I apologize. I read that already. John chapter 18, verse 3 through 6. And it says, Yahuwah then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Parashim, came thither with lances, torches, and weapons. This is when they came to get Yahusha. And Yahusha, therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, that's gonna come into play. I understand Aki used to believe the same thing I believe, but that means you fell off, Aki. That's all I can tell you, because I'm not moving from this out. Yahuwah is Yahusha. Period. So I was staying to Yahuwah. Anyway. It says, Yahusha, therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, Who seek ye? They answered him, Yahusha of Nisarel. Yahusha said unto them, I am he. And Yahudah also, which betrayed him, stood them. And as soon as he spoke those words unto them, they fell backwards to the ground. So just Yahusha telling them, I'm Yahusha, I'm who you looking for. Hit the power of his word threw all them men to the ground. You cannot tell me that's a regular man. You cannot tell me that. You cannot tell me, because Yahuwah even made a difference between the prophets and his son. And we're going to get to that in Hebrews. He made a difference between the prophets, talking to us through the prophets, and talking to us through the son. So why wasn't his son declared as in the prophets, if quote unquote that's what Yahuwah called him in the Old Testament? Why is he separated from the prophets in the book of Hebrews? We got to get precept upon precept, line upon line, not just a basic conversation. Remember, Yahusha spoke in parables. There was nothing that was just understood on the surface. So how come we think we could just understand this on the surface? We got to dig, man. Be it fast. Let's continue on, though, man. I'm not off topic, but another point I want to make, another proof of Yahuwah coming in, another proof of Yahuwah coming down here on the earth. All this thing to Yahuwah. We're all familiar with Abraham. I'm not sure if we're all familiar with the priest who anointed Abraham, but his name was Melchisedec. Malik Zitkanu in the Hebrew. Malik Zitkanu is not just a name, it's a saying, and it means king of righteousness. Who is the king of righteousness? That's the only question I have right now before we even get into the scripts. Who is the king of righteousness? Yahuwah, correct? So why is this Melchizedek named the king of righteousness? Because he is Yahuwah, once again, in a whole nother form. And we're going to prove it right here with the scripts. I'll stay to Yahuwah. I love these scripts. Let's keep going. Chapter 7. Hebrews, chapter 7, verse 1. Just to prove that Melchizedek, Malik Zitkanu, the king of righteousness, hallelujah, Yahuwah. This is what it says. For this Melchizedek, or Malik Zitkanu, as it says in the Sefer, this Melchizedek, king of Shalom, which is king of peace. Who is the king of peace? Yahuwah. Priest of Yahuwah, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him. I thought Yahuwah blessed Abraham. Didn't it say in scripture Yahuwah blessed and anointed Abraham? So how come it's saying Melchizedek just did it? Because Yahuwah did it through Melchizedek in the form of him being Melchizedek. Let's continue on. Verse 2. To whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all. So wait, Abraham gave Melchizedek a 10th of all? Well, I thought that was only for the priest of Yahuwah. What's going on here? See, we got to get deeper. Melchizedek was Yahuwah in the flesh. Watch this. Big facts. Melchizedek is Yahuwah. 100%. Let's continue on. We're going to make a perfect proof right here. In these next 2 verses, we're going to make a perfect proof. To whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all. First being interpretation, king of righteousness. As I said, Melchizedek, king of righteousness. And then what? King of Shalom, which is king of peace. So who is the king of righteousness and the king of peace? Can anyone on this feed tell me how many king of righteousness and how many king of pieces do we have? All I know is one king of righteousness and one king of peace. That is Yahuwah, who had no mother, no father. I was getting there, Aki. You blew my spot, but it's all staying to Yahuwah. I'm still going there. Big fast. Who in the world is the king of righteousness and the king of peace? And let's keep going. Verse 3. Without father, without mother. That right there is case closed, but we're going to keep going. Without father, this Melchisedec has no father, has no mother. No father, no mother. Who? How is that possible? Let's keep going on, man. Big fat. This Yahuwah coming down once again. No father, no mother. He ain't have no mother. Yahusha came through a woman to prove a point. Like I said, it's a whole nother video. But this Melchisedec, he didn't have no mother, no father. Who is he then? How did he get here on this earth if he has no mother, no father? Let's keep going on. Verse 3, once over. Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of Yahuwah. It says he has no beginning of days, no beginning of life. Well, who is this? This is Yahuwah in the flesh once again. Yahusha, quote unquote, just called by different names. Even through when we see the name of Yahuwah wasn't even called on until Enos was born. We can find that in the book of Genesis. But before then, Yahuwah hadn't made it a 100% requirement until a certain time. Because once again, as you can see, these heathens have put names on their deities. So Yahuwah said, no, my name is above all names. Y'all gonna call me by my name. Y'all gonna serve me, period. Y'all ain't gonna call me by these titles. It ain't even rocking like that. Y'all gonna acknowledge my power. All this thing to Yahuwah. We almost finished though. We got about 10 more, 11 more. Let's continue on. We're going to go to Matt, because we understand right here, this is Yahuwah. Melchisedec is Yahuwah, and Yahusha, quote unquote, Yahuwah in the flesh, came down here on earth. Once again, all this thing to Yahuwah. Nothing's too hard for the king. Where we at? All this thing to Yahuwah. Big fast. All this thing to Yahuwah. Matthew 24:36. I definitely want to touch with that. I got to go. Wait, give me 1 second. Like, not even a second. Like, less than a minute. Let me pull up Matthews right quick. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'll stay to you. All right, I'm there. All right. Yeah. All right, give me a minute. Okay. I'll stay to you. My bad. I apologize. Matthew chapter 24. Verse 36. Now, I want to touch on this because as we just, we see that Yahuwah has came down here more than once. We see that in Exodus. We see that in the New Testament. And there's, big fast. All this thing to Yahuwah, sis. You better believe it. All this thing to Yahuwah. Matthew chapter 24, 36. He's going to get super deep right here. Now, we just heard that Yahusha and earlier in Matthew, it said that Yahusha knew all things concerning himself. All this thing to Yahuwah. No sweat, Aki. All this thing to Yahuwah. Yahusha knew all things concerning the thing that was going to happen to him. Because that is what was given to him to know. Period. Flesh is going to always have a distinction from the Almighty King. But that does not mean that flesh is not of Yahuwah. That does not mean Yahuwah cannot manifest himself into the flesh. It's super deep. We got to remember, these are scripts. This is a mystery. This is from a heavenly creator. Of course, this thing is not just superficial. We can't just read the surface and say we got the truth. It's not going to work like that. All right, Matthew 24:36. And it says, but of that day and hour no man knows. No, not the angels of heaven. Excuse me, no man knows. But of that day and hour knows no man. No, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But this doesn't even say the Son doesn't know. It says no man knows, which is even better for my point that I'm about to make. No man knows anything. If anyone thinks they know anything, then they don't know what they're talking about. Why do I say that? Screw it. A bit fast. We're going to go right to 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10 through 11. Remember they said, no man knows, only the Father, not even the angels. No man knows. At that time, Yahuwah was in the form of a man. So there's certain knowledge and wisdom that is prohibited from the flesh to know. We can find this in the book of Daniel when Yahuwah even told Daniel to shut up the prophecy until a certain time. It's certain things that we aren't allowed to know until a certain time while we're in the flesh. This is just big facts. This is just how it works. It's how Yahuwah ordained things. Anyway, let's continue on. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10 through 11. Now we see that scripture just said that no man knows. Why does no man know? And we're going to prove also that, excuse me, We're going to prove also that Yahusha, that Ruach in Yahuwah, knew exactly what he was talking about. Let me find this Corinthians, all these tabs, man. Excuse me. I'll stay to Yahuwah. Here we go, baby. Okay, so we have 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 10. And it says, but Yahuwah has revealed them unto us by his Ruach, his spirit. For the Ruach searcheth all things. Yeah, the deep things of Yahuwah. So now let's start right there, verse 10 right quick. It says, but Yahuwah has revealed them unto us by his spirit. So no man knows nothing. Even this stuff that I'm talking about right now, I don't know nothing what I'm saying right now. I know that may sound crazy because you look at me talking about it, but I don't know anything. It's the Ruach of Yahuwah that is speaking these things. And once again, I don't even like to talk like that because it sounds like, a person trying to lift themselves up. That ain't even it at all. What I am saying is I'm actually lowering myself. I don't know crap. I don't know anything, man, about what I'm talking about. But this Ruach that Yahuwah put on me, boy, that thing mighty. Big facts. All this thing to Yahuwah. So we going to continue on. No man knows unto us. Yahuwah revealed it by his Ruach. For the Ruach searcheth all things. Yeah, the deep things of Yahuwah. Verse 11. For what man knows the things of man? So stop right there. That's saying men don't even know the things of men. So how do we expect Yahusha, quote unquote, in the flesh to know the things of heaven if it says the man don't even know the things of man? This is big fact. See, Yahuwah did all this to make himself subject to all the things that we are subject to. This is exactly what he did. This is what people are not realizing. He humbled himself to the lowest form of humbleness, to where he took on death for people who weren't even studying what he was talking about back then. Big facts. Hallelujah. People weren't even studying what he was talking about back then, but he said, you know what, to spare my people, even when Stephen was getting stoned, he said, Father, do not impute this as sin to them. Yahusha, when he was getting killed, that was the Ruach talking out of them. That wasn't the flesh. That was the Ruach, because the flesh would have felt that pain. The flesh wouldn't even been able to look up into heaven. Matter of fact, I believe I got that written down. But that was the Ruach of Yahuwah speaking. We got to understand, man, this thing is super deep. But once again, the main importance of this is for our bros who are denying the Mashiach because they don't understand that it is Yahuwah in the flesh. They're denying Yahuwah. Yahuwah has revealed himself to us before he comes down in the cloud and every knee shall bow. Big facts. And that's what's going to happen. You're either going to bow willingly or not so willingly. It ain't going to be pleasant. Let's continue on, man. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 3. Another verse that they reject from the Sefer just to fit their doctrine. All this thing to Yahuwah. And now, you know what? I take that back. I ain't even going to say to fit their doctrine because some of my bros believe other than what I believe, and I still love them. So I'm not even going to say, shout out my bad, bro. I don't even want to put it like that. I still love my bros. They don't believe how I believe. Cool. It's cool. I still love you. All this thing to Yahuwah. Let's serve Yahuwah. Let's Barak Yahusha. Let's lead our people to the kingdom. Bottom line, we could figure out these differences later. But I'm doing this for the bros. I know a couple of bros. Like one of my bros, I don't want to call his name, but he just basically fell off from Yahusha by sticking so hard to Yahuwah's word without really the proper understanding. And I can't really fault him. Nah, Aki, I never said that. If someone doesn't believe Yahuwah is Yahusha, does that mean they would not be saved? Nah, but that is what's making people fall away from Yahusha because they don't understand that Yahusha is Yahuwah. So they're thinking that Yahusha was added. They don't understand that Yahusha is Yahuwah. Nah, Aki, I'm not saying that at all. If you deny Yahusha, absolutely, you're in trouble. But if you don't necessarily agree that Yahuwah is Yahusha, I'm not going to say that's going to condemn you, but I'm not going to give you a free... Absolutely, Aki, I'm going to all that, Greg, Larry, big facts, man, we going there. But I'm talking to Ben right now. No, Aki, I can't say that, but then again, I can't say it won't. Because then that may be saying you're believing in something other than Yahuwah. I don't know. But what I'm doing this for is for our brethren who are on the fence, that don't really understand that Yahusha is Yahuwah in the flesh. Or even better to say, Yahuwah is Yahusha. It's even better to say it that way because then it takes off the emphasis, the attention off of Yahusha and it's saying that Yahuwah is Yahusha, not Yahusha is Yahuwah. Because some people think that we're saying that flesh man that walked the earth is Yahuwah. No, that's the physical form of Yahuwah. Big facts. That's the physical form of Yahuwah. Nobody can tell me anything different because Scripture already has revealed that plenty times over. But anyway, I'll stand to Yahuwah. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 13. Once again, the Ruach. We just read verse 10 and 11 that says only the Ruach knows, right? Only the Ruach can tell us these things. What does verse 3 say in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 in the Sefer? Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Ruach of Yahuwah calls Yahusha accursed, and that no man can say that Yahuwah is Yahusha except by the Ruach HaKadosh. This is what the word says, family. It says no man can call Yahuwah Yahusha or Yahusha Yahuwah except by the Ruach. So if that Ruach has not revealed that to their brethren, not to necessarily say the Ruach will not reveal it to their brethren, but their brethren going to have to open up his heart and fast to the Most High Yahuwah, man. Otherwise, they're going to think they... See, if you... Anybody who does not believe what I'm saying right now, if you do not take it to Yahuwah in prayer and fasting, that's a prideful thing, and I wouldn't advise you to do it. Because I've done it, and I will continue to do it. Actually, I just did it. And he will reveal these things to you. But if you think you got it already, and I don't know what I'm talking about, which I don't, but these scripts are wrong, or I'm putting them wrong, or I'm projecting them wrong, if you don't go take it to Yahuwah in prayer and fasting, that is a form of pride, because you think you know it all already, and that's on you. I pray Yahuwah has mercy on you. And I pray he take all pride for me, boy, because I ain't even got time for that. I done did that enough in the streets. I don't even got no time for no pride. You big facts. You get what I'm saying? My whole thing is to get to the kingdom and take as many people as I can with me. Didn't Yahuwah say win souls? So why we arguing? See, that's why I got off the post. I was on a sister post going, talking to a bro, but then Yahuwah said, nah, line these scripts up and do a video and leave the situation alone. I'm not going to talk about it no more after this. Big facts. I'm going to leave it alone. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to argue with you, but I am here to say, listen, you got to look a little bit deeper, Aki. You got to dig a little bit deeper. And once again, it's important because it's causing our people to turn away from the Mashiach because they think he's someone other than Yahuwah. It's a big problem because if you turn from Yahusha, you are condemned. Scripts say that. Yahusha is the word of Yahuwah. Yahuwah made flesh. If you turn from the word of Yahuwah, if you turn from Yahuwah made flesh. Anyway, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 3. Wherefore I give you to understand, no man speaking by the Ruach of Yahuwah calls Yahusha accursed, and that no man can say that Yahuwah is Yahusha except by the Ruach HaKadosh. They say once again that's a false interpretation. I don't believe them at all, because it sits well with me that my Ruach, that Yahuwah is Yahusha. It's really that simple. All right, let's keep going. Philippians chapter 2, verse 10. I think I read this. I'm not sure, but let's keep going. Yeah, I did read that. Yeah, that every name, that at the name of Yahusha, every knee shall bow. Oh, something I want to say about that. Now, why would Yahuwah have every knee bow down to the name of Yahusha? Why? First of all, because Yahuwah is Yahusha. Second of all, because Yahusha means Yahuwah is salvation. So we all going to bow down and admit that. We all going to bow down and confess that Yahuwah is salvation. All esteem to Yahuwah. We're all going to, whether we want to or not, we're going to bow down and confess Yahuwah is salvation. Once again, that's what Yahusha's name means. Let's continue on. Let's go past that. I got a witness in Isaiah 45:23 to that, but I'm going to skip that. We're going to deal with the right hand. We're going to deal with the right hand because a lot of people talking about, oh, he was at the right hand, he was at the right hand. But there's a verse in Daniel where it says that all the angels was on the right hand of Yahuwah and on the left hand, 1 Kings. And I'm actually going to get that. I sure am. I don't even have it written down, but excuse me for a minute because I'm about to make a very valid point. All esteem to Yahuwah. 1 Kings. Or was it 2 Kings? I ain't write it down, but it's in here though, and I ain't shaking. 1 Kings or was it 2 Kings? I'm going to find out right now. First, give me a second, y'all, because I want to make a point. The right hand just means the power, the righteousness, the goodness, the will of Yahuwah. This is all the right hand means, and the left hand means something else, and we're going to prove it. Let's keep going. Let's go. 1 Kings 22, I believe it is. Let's find it right quick. Let me see. Was it 2 Kings 22? To a servant. Yeah, I think it was 2 Kings 22. Hold on, give me a minute, y'all. Excuse me. I should have wrote it down, man. But long story short, it said, let me check 22 on chapter 2 right quick. It says that how the angels were standing on the left of him and on the right of him. So if it's angels standing on the right of Yahuwah, then where is Yahusha at? If it all the, I'm gonna find that and post it actually. All the standing to Yahuwah. If there's angels standing on the right of Yahuwah, on the right hand of Yahuwah, it says that it's right hand, then where's Yahusha? So then we have to realize that right hand means power, might, will, his going, his doing. So when he told Dawood, sit, matter of fact, let's go there. Psalm 110, chapter 1. We're going to go there and see exactly what was going on. Psalm 110, chapter 1. And forgive me, y'all, for not having that one in Kings prepared. That's my fault. I should have wrote that baby down, too. I could have sworn I did. Oh, man, but I guess I did. My bad. I'll stand to Yahuwah. All right, we're going to go to Psalms 110. Psalms 110, verse 1. And it says, Yahuwah said unto my master, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. So what is that saying? That's telling Yahuwah, Yahusha, whoever this being is he's speaking with right now, That's telling him to just chill. I got this. Do what I tell you to do. If I tell you go here, go there. If I tell you go here, go there. Do what I'm telling you to do. Humble yourself under my might and let my power get the esteem. Let my power do the work for you. This is what it's saying. And now we can find this proof. We got our brothers out here right now telling us to mount up and go shed the enemy's blood. Where is that in the scriptures though? Because Yahuwah knows, boy, I go out, man, listen, all this thing to Yahuwah. Where is that in the scriptures though? It doesn't say anything about that. It says Yahuwah is going to avenge that for us, right? Big fast. So that's what's going to happen. We have to sit at his right hand. We all, us humbling ourselves under Yahuwah, is sitting at his right hand. This is where it even says right here in verse 5. Yahuwah at your right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He's talking to Yahusha. Saying that Yahuwah going to do this through the right. Yahuwah's going to do it through the right hand of Yahusha. This through the power of Yahusha, through the man Yahusha. People not really under. Thank you, Aki. 1 Kings 22:19. I'm going there. $2 Yahuwah for getting me that. Good looks, Aki. I'll stay to Yahuwah. Because I just want to prove something right quick on that right there. 1 Kings 22:19. And it says, and he said, hear therefore the word of Yahuwah. I saw Yahuwah sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. Well, wait, how all the hosts of heaven on his right hand and Yahusha's on his right hand? What's going on? So we have to understand what right hand means. I hope that makes y'all see that right hand does not mean what we think. No, it does not mean it at all. It means the power, the will, excuse me, sit down and just chill. That's what scripture say, humble yourself under the mighty hand of Yahuwah. What is that referring to? His right hand, his will, whatever he says. Humble yourself to that. Bottom line, that's all they're saying when they saw Yahusha. Man, listen, but this thing is so deep, man. Oh my goodness gracious. All this thing to Yahuwah. Thank you for that, Zamar. All this thing to Yahuwah for grabbing me that verse. But it's clearly showing us that at the right hand of Yahuwah, all the hosts of heaven are standing by him on his right hand and on his left. What is the left hand for? They leave the lying spirits, the wickedness that he's about to destroy the people with of their own recompense. Remember, he got a cup of wrath in his hand. The enemy's pouring up, on their wickedness pouring up in that cup. Yahuwah about to unleash that thing with that left hand. And that right hand, he going to scoop us up with and protect us with. We got to understand Yahuwah, man. He says his understanding cannot be searched out. So you got to take it in prayer. He will reveal to you what he wants you to know. And then if a person is too prideful, me included, if a person is too prideful to receive it from another brother because they think they got it all, may Yahuwah be with you. And come correct me. I stand completely corrected if I'm ever corrected, Aki. Because I'm sitting here trying to please Yahuwah. I ain't trying to do nothing. I'm sitting here esteeming Yahuwah, serving the king. All esteem to Yahuwah through his power, through his might. So the whole thing is get to the kingdom. Bottom line. And if our brothers are falling away, once again, because Yahusha has become a stumbling block for them, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. All this thing to Yahuwah, man, big fast. Let's continue on, man. Let me turn this AC on, excuse me, hold up. I know I keep going back and forth. Y'all got the point by now, though. Yeah, we almost done. I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer. We almost finished. All this thing to Yahuwah. We at the right hand. Now let's go. Now we see right here in Isaiah, it just said, sit at my right hand. So let's go to Acts 7:55. Let's just prove there's a distinction. It says, sit at my right hand in the book of Psalms. All right, let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 7. Excuse me. The book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 55 through 56. That's what I have. Yeah, excuse me, 55 through 59, excuse me. So now we just see that it says, sit at my right hand. Aki, I got you, but I got to go through this, what I got right now, Aki. You got to wait a minute, bro. Acts chapter 7, verse 55 through 59. And it says, but he, being full of the Ruach HaKodesh, talking about Stephen while he was getting stoned. But he, being full of the Ruach HaKodesh, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of Yah. So now it just said he saw the esteem of Yahuwah and Yahusha standing on the right hand of Yahuwah. Well, wait. Just says sit at my right hand. But now it's saying Yahusha standing on the right hand of Yahuwah. That's going to line up in Revelations when we go there. This is literally Yahuwah sitting on Yahusha sitting on the throne. This is big facts. People aren't understanding this right here. He's sitting on the power of Yahuwah. Well, where does Yahuwah? He said his throne. Oh my goodness gracious, man. This thing gets super deep, man. Yahuwah's power, his esteem is great. And to understand it, it's only going to come from the Ruach HaKodesh. So when Stephen looked up into Shemayim and saw Yahusha, it says he saw the esteem of Yah and Yahusha standing on the right hand of Yah. But wait, in Psalm it just says sit at. So how are you going to sit at and stand on his right hand? How are you going to do both? Watch this. I got another one that says sit, or sitting on the right hand. This is Mark 14:61 through 62. And this is just why we need precept upon precept, because if we're going to say that he's literally, I'll just think to Yahuwah, if we're going to say that he's literally sitting at the hand of Yahuwah, then how come this verse just said he's standing on the word, sitting on the hand of Yahuwah? Which one is it? His ways are unsearchable. Big fact, Aki, all this thing to Yahuwah. So now we got to understand what power means. Mark chapter 14, verse 61 through 62. Mark chapter 14, verse 61 through 62. But he held his peace and answered them nothing. And again the high priest asked him and said unto him, Are you Hamashiach, the son of the blessed? Now watch, we're going to prove about the word son. Watch this. The son of the blessed. And Yahusha said, I am. And ye shall see the son of Adam sitting on the right hand of power. Right hand of power. This is perfect proof that the right hand is alluding to Yahuwah's power. It has nothing to do with a physical right hand. We know Yahuwah is an invisible spirit anyway. So that should tell you common sense. He can't be sitting on the right hand of an invisible spirit. How does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense to me. All this thing to Yahuwah. And it says, first he just said, are you the son of the blessed? But then he said, you will see the son of Adam. So wait, is Adam the blessed? Or are we talking about Yahuwah right here? All this thing to the Most High Yahuwah. Precept upon precept. Big fact. So let's continue on. I wanted to go to 59 with that, excuse me. But you know, I'm gonna stick it right there. We should that's good enough. Yahusha said, I am he. Just referred himself to the son of Yahuwah. But then he turned and said himself, he's the son of Adam, sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds. So obviously, on the right hand does not mean literally. It's a figurative speak, meaning the power of Yahuwah. Let's keep going. Revelation 22, 1 and 4. This is perfect, exactly what I'm talking about. Yahuwah sitting on the power on the throne of Yahuwah. It's going to show that the throne of Yahuwah and the throne of the Lamb is one. So how can they both have the same throne if they're two different people? How can they have the same throne if they're two different people? Please tell me this. Please tell me they sitting on each other's lap. Ain't nobody on nothing like that. You get what I'm saying? How do they have the same throne if they're two different people? Revelation chapter 22, verses 1 through 4. All I want to know is how they got the same throne. How they got the same throne if they two different people. Please, somebody tell me. Maybe I'm missing something. Chapter 22, verse 1 through 4. And he showed me a pure river of water, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb. Wait a minute. He showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb. So the throne is Yahuwah's and the Lamb's? Well, wait a minute. So what's going on here? Why do we have this saying this in the script? All you got to do is go look it up. Revelation 22, chapter 1. It says it clearly. Revelation chapter 22, verse 1. And it got some more. Verse 1 again. And he showed me a pure river. This is a revelation from Shemayim, heaven. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb. This is one throne, and it's Yahuwah's and the Lamb. How is that possible? In the midst of the street of it, on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bore 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb shall be in it. It didn't say the thrones of Yahuwah and the Lamb. It said the throne of Yahuwah and the Lamb. That's one throne, meaning Yahuwah and the Lamb are one, not just in spirit physically, because how are they both sitting on the throne? Please answer that. Ben Israel, you have any comment on that, Aki? How are they both sitting on the throne if they are two different entities? Please tell me how they both sitting on the throne. We know they ain't lapped up. We know that for a fact. Come on, now let's make it make sense. Let's continue on. It says once again, verse 3, and there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb shall be in it. Now watch this very next verse. It says, in his servants, not their servants. It says, in his servants. Wait a minute, what's going on? Why does it say their servants? Why does it not say their servants? Please, can you tell me? I cannot say this for the end just because I want to know. Why does it not say their servants? Come on, Aki. This is a partially of the they're the same. Big facts. This is one of the reasons why people deny the New Testament, because they can't make sense of it. They go carnally and not realizing. I already went through that verse, Aki. Absolutely. I already went through those. I already went through that verse, Aki. Daniel. Anyway, let's keep going. Verse 4. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. Wait a minute. How come I'm seeing all this his? What's going on? What's going on? It says the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb. All the things to Yahuwah. They're one. And it says his servants shall see his face, and his name shall be on their head. I see his, and his. In fact, I should check the KJV too, but I don't even. Let me see if I can find that right quick. Revelation 22, 1 through 4. It says the same exact thing in the KJV. It says, and his servants shall see his face. And it says the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb. The same exact thing. We going witness on witness. You get what I'm saying? From book to book, place to place. We're not just taking what we want to do around here. We want to serve the kingdom. It says just his. It does not say our. It doesn't say their. It doesn't say them. It says his name. His servants will see his face. And, excuse me, let me read it again. His servants will see his face. Excuse me, verse 3. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb shall be in it. And his servants, Yahuwah and the Lamb, and they just said his. What's going on? Come on, Aki. When are we going to admit that Yahusha is Yahuwah? Or what Scripture's lying? I believe wholeheartedly in these words. So if Yahuwah and Yahusha had the same exact throne, how can they be different? It says it right here. Once again, I'm going to just read the whole passage straight through. Chapter 22, because this is a killer. This is why I say it for the end. How can you deny? You got to just take this whole passage out then to make the truth that Yahuwah and Yahusha is separate. You're going to have to take this whole passage out. Revelation chapter 22, verse 1 through 4. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bore 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Yahuwah and of the Lamb shall be in it. And his servants shall serve him, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads. Who is this his when it just said Yahuwah and the throne? Why is it continually saying his? Because they are one and the same. Not just spiritually. They are this. Anyway, let's keep going, man. We almost done. I promise you, almost done. This is now we're going to go to Hebrews chapter 1 through 5. Excuse me. Hebrews chapter 1 verses 1 through, I think I'm going to just stop right there at 5. Alright, let's go get it. All this thing to Yahuwah. This is another one, man. Like I said, right there. Yahuwah and the Lamb. They on the same throne. Nah, Aki, that's not it. It's not the case at all. It says his servants. His servants will see his face. Can't just make up your own, meaning the throne of the kingdom. Come on, bro. Where's that in the scriptures? Please show me where is that in the scriptures. You see what I'm saying right here? God hand. People making up their own doctrine. It says his throne, not throne of the kingdom. His throne. His servants will see his face. Big facts. All this thing to Yahuwah. Behold, the day of Yahuwah comes, and your spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather nations against Yahushua to battle, and the city shall be taken. And the houses... Oh, you put it up. It went up too quick. Excuse me. It went up too quick, man. All this thing to Yahuwah. Check out Greg Aki comment, man. He just went ahead and confirmed that. All this thing to Yahuwah. All right, let's continue on right quick. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 5 through 6. Now, we're going to show Yahuwah talking to the Son. And watch what Yahuwah says. This is going to kill. Bro, I mean, this is just a kill. This is overkill. Watch this. We're talking about Yahuwah now, talking to the Son. Watch what he says. Oh, I'm going to get that one, Aki, and Yahuwah shall be king. That's Zechariah 14. I'm going to get that, Aki. So, Hebrews chapter 1, verse 5. And it says, now this is, just ride with me. I'll stay to Yahuwah. Verse 5. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, You are my son. This day I have begotten you. And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. And again, when he brings his one into the world, he says, and let all the angels of Yahuwah worship him. Now he's talking about Yahusha. And he just said when he brings him into the world, let all the angels of Yahuwah worship him. But scriptures clearly said don't worship nobody but Yahuwah. So why did Yahuwah just give these angels a command to worship Yahusha? Because he's Yahuwah. Let's keep going on. This is going to prove it right here. Verse 7 and 8. Watch this, man. And of the angels, he says, who makes his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire? But unto the Son, this is Yahuwah, but unto the Son. This is what Yahuwah says. Yahuwah says, your throne, O Yahuwah. It says your throne, O Elohim in here, but we know Elohim is a Lord. Oh, Yahuwah. Yahuwah is talking to himself. It said once again, verse 8, but unto the Son. Yahuwah says, your throne, O Yahuwah, is forever and ever. A sepulchre of righteousness is the sepulchre of your kingdom. This is Yahuwah clearly talking to the Son in the form, saying that, oh Yahuwah, your throne is forever and ever. Now, why would Yahuwah talk to himself? Go back to Exodus where Yahuwah came down at the cloud and said, oh, holy, holy Yahuwah, Yahuwah. That's why Yahuwah had me bring that out. Because Yahuwah came down in Exodus and did the same exact thing. So what he's doing right here is talking to the bodily form of himself. Like, boy, your kingdom reign forever, boy. Big facts. You get what I'm saying? So this is just what's going on, man. We got to understand. So even when he was, quote unquote, praying to himself, remember, he came to be a perfect example for us. If he was to pray to himself in the flesh, that would lead us to start praying to ourselves. So when he came to pray to Yahuwah himself, once again on the throne, the magnificence of himself, that was an example for us to pray to Yahuwah. Don't pray to no man on earth. You got people going to the Catholic Pope, praying to them. You got people going to Buddhists, different idols, praying to them. Yahuwah came to be the perfect example for us. And that's what he did. He showed us what to do. Let's continue on. We about to finish, man, all this thing to Yahuwah. Because this is just going to, and that's Deuteronomy 6:13 where it says worship Yahuwah only. So why would Yahuwah tell him in Hebrews, tell the angels to worship somebody other than himself? If he gave us all commands to not worship nobody but him, why would he give his angels a different command? Come on now. So that same figure is him. This is why he told his angels to worship him. Because this is me. This is me in the flesh. This is my form right here. Worship that. All this thing to Yahuwah. Let's keep going. Revelation 21:3. And I'm not even going to do all of them, but because I believe we ate enough. But on all this thing to Yahuwah. Revelation 21:3. This is why I said that word tabernacle is going to come into place. Because here it comes right here. Revelation 21:3. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yahuwah is with men. Now, didn't we just say Yahusha tabernacled with us? Gotta link it. Precept upon precept, baby. Gotta link it. It just said that Yahusha tabernacled. So, it says the tabernacle of Yahuwah is with men. That's Yahusha. And he will tabernacle with them. And they shall be his people. Watch this. And Yahuwah himself will be with them. This is the scripts. Revelation 21:3. Yahuwah himself will be with them. So where's Yahusha at this time? He just don't exist no more? Yahusha just stopped existing all of a sudden. He don't exist. It's just over with. Come on, man. No. Yahuwah's been Yahusha this whole entire time. All this thing to the king. Once again, Yahuwah himself shall be with them. Why didn't it say the Son of Yahuwah will be with them? Why didn't it say the Son of Yahuwah, the Son of Man will be with them? Why did it say Yahuwah himself will be with them? Self-explanatory. All this thing to the king. Another witness to that same verse. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 16. Now we just heard Yahuwah himself will be with us, right? Yahuwah himself will dwell with us. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 16. I mean, if this don't, man, all this thing to Yahuwah. Chapter 4 verse 16. For Yahuwah himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. This is New Testament. This is 1 Thessalonians corroborating with revelations that Yahuwah himself will dwell with us. What does it say? Verse 16. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. For Yahuwah himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, in the voice of the archangel, and with the shofar of Yahuwah. And the dead and the Mashiach shall rise first. He just said Yahuwah himself shall descend from heaven. So where's Yahusha in all of this? So Yahuwah just got rid of Yahusha. That's just what we're going to have to say. Or we just going to have to believe that Yahusha was Yahuwah's physical form. Yahuwah came down here as Yahusha. He came down here as a man to show his creation how it's done, because we couldn't get it right. We couldn't get it right for nothing. We sitting there doing all, man, you read the stuff them people was doing back in, and not even just to blame them. Look at the stuff we was doing today. If we didn't have the confidence that, okay, Yahuwah came down here to show us an example, and I know Yahuwah ain't going to tell us to do something we can't do. I'm sure most of us know that. Yahuwah will never tell us to do something we can't do. Big facts. So if he came down here to show us that we can do it, I believe we can do it. And it gives me more confidence that he came down here to show me that. So I need to go ahead and follow him. All right, we almost done. Y'all got about 3 more. Revelation 14:12. This is another one, man. Man, this thing is beautiful, man. Precept upon precept, baby. See, we got to catch the words that we reading. We not reading the words, not all of us, but some of us aren't reading the words to understand. Big facts, Aki. When we're reading the words off a pretense of something we heard already. So now when we read it, whatever we just heard, that's what that verse means. Because we're not even going at it with an open mind. We're going at it from what someone else already has interpreted. That's error. Big facts. Let's continue on. Now watch these words. Watch how simple they are. And watch, like, wow, that really makes sense. Because he just showed me this today, right before I was about to come on the live. Or probably about a few hours ago. But anyway, I'll stay to you. Revelation 14:12. And it says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahuwah and believe in Yahusha. So now let's start right here. It just said, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahuwah. The commandments of Yahuwah, right? What does John 14:15 say? Yahusha said, if ye love me, keep my commandments. Wait a minute, what? Huh? See, this is where we got to get that Ruach, let that Ruach ride, because I done read that verse so many times and it didn't hit me till today. Just till today that didn't hit me. Like, wait, the commandments are Yahuwah's, but Yahusha said, keep my commandments. Yahusha is Yahuwah. This is why they wanted to kill him, because they could not understand and accept that he was Yahuwah in the flesh, y'all. Big facts. Once again, here is the patience of the saints, the Kodeshim. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahuwah and the belief of Yahusha HaMashiach. Why did Yahusha say keep my commandments? Why didn't he say keep my father's commandments? Because he was Yahuwah in the flesh. So he was able to say keep my commandments. I mean, I don't know how much further we need to go with this, family. You get what I'm saying? I got a couple more. I'm going to leave the rest over there. I got a whole sheet that I was going to go over, but we ain't going to touch that. I gave y'all enough of this. All this thing to you. I'm sure we get it by now. Once again, man, no bragging or boasting in my own. I'm human. I'm nothing but a flesh, a vessel that's being used by the word of Yahuwah to conduit to translate the word of Yahuwah in righteousness. Absolutely. So once again, one more time, because this is a cut and dry. They couldn't accept it then, someone accept it today. Exactly, Kirk. Big facts, Aki. All the thing to Yahuwah. They couldn't accept it then, they can't accept it now. Once again, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahuwah and the belief in Yahusha. Let's go get John 14:15 right quick then. Let's just go get that. Just so we can hear Yahusha say it. So we just heard that they are the commandments of Yahuwah. We just heard that. John 14:15. What did Yahusha say? We all know it, but I'm going to read it. I'll stand to Yahuwah. If ye love me, keep my commandments. Whose commandments are they? Are they Yahusha's commandments or are they Yahuwah's commandments? You get what I'm saying? They're one. They are the same. Yahusha is Yahuwah. Man, I don't really know what else to say on that one. If that one didn't convince you over everything we just went over, if that didn't nail it home, then it really, these two verses I'm about to read ain't going to nail it home. But anywho, we're going to read them anyway. 1 Peter 3, verse 13 through 15. And I was going to read and I'm still going to read it, absolutely, because they may benefit from that. I'll stand to Yahuwah. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 13 through 15. I'll stand to Yahuwah. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, verse 13 through 15. And it says, and who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good? But, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. But sanctify Yahuwah the Mashiach in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you of a reason of hope that is within you with meekness and fear. It says it says Yahuwah the Mashiach. You want to see? I'm going to let you see. I don't know if y'all can see that right there underlined. I hope y'all can see it. It says Yahuwah the Mashiach. So now, if we're going to just make ourselves scholars and just say, hey, I'm not going to take that because it says something other than what I believe, then that's not right. When we come across something that we don't understand to be true as of yet, we need to seek Yahuwah. I remember the first time his name means salvation of Yahuwah. Yahuwah is salvation. Big facts. I remember the first time I read, I believe I mentioned this before, I read that Yahuwah told King Saul to go through and kill everything, even the babies. When I first read that about 4 years ago, I was like, what in the world? What do you want to kill a babies for? But instead of me throwing it away and going my own understanding, I took it to Yahuwah in prayer. And I remember this, and that was really like one of the first times I had to take something to Yahuwah. Because all the other stuff was basically, you know, just I accepted. But then when he said kill a babies too, I said, what in the world's going on here? What's up with this book? But instead of me casting it to the side, Yahuwah put it in my Ruach. Yahuwah did it. I stayed to Yahuwah. Yahuwah did it. I didn't do it. Yahuwah put it in my Ruach to humble myself to him and ask him, Father, help me understand this. And when I asked him to help me understand it, lo and behold, I understand now. If Saul would have killed them babies, we wouldn't have these Revelation 2:9s walking around right now. The synagogue of Satan wouldn't be walking around right now. Because his seed would have been obliterated back then when Yahuwah told Saul to get rid of him. All this thing to Yahuwah. All right, so right here, in the 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 13 through 15, in the Sefer, it says Yahuwah the Mashiach. I don't really know what else could really be said. Yahuwah the Mashiach. Yahuwah came down in the flesh. He came down as in the form of a man to save us from our own iniquities, because his law requires blood to be shed for sins. In order to save us from having to shed our blood, he's using Yahusha's blood for everybody who believes in Yahusha. But for everybody who does not believe in Yahusha, they ain't got no blood. Their blood is going to be required at the hand of Yahuwah. Their blood is going to be required by Yahuwah. He says it. But if you keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, believe in Yahusha, he's going to use Yahusha's blood to cover you instead of your own blood to cover you, which will leave you in a terrible place. You get what I'm saying? So once again, in his great kindness and his great mercies, he humbled himself in the form of his creation to spare his creation from the wicked spirits that have rebelled against him. Yahuwah gave us all free will. We got the free will to drop this and go do what we want to do right now. Some of us do. Not all of us. Like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Jonah. Some of us just got to do what we got to do. We ain't got no choice. And I don't want no other choice but to do this. Big fast. So, because then we reveal unto our brethren some things that they may be missing, and not to exalt ourselves in any manner. Big fast. Because once again, boy, I'm nothing or nobody. I am just a man that is here reading the words from the heavenly king and presenting my understanding, which I fully believe is from the Ruach. And I'm sure that many on this video have seen by now that Yahusha is Yahuwah. There's no way to get around that. Big facts. All right, let's keep going. I'm gonna hit. Big facts. Yeah, I'm gonna hit this last one. I promise y'all. This is the last one I'm gonna leave y'all with. And then, cause this basically just clotheslines everything what we just said. People want to deny what I'm about to read from the first book of Adam and Eve, but it completely lines up with everything we just went over. Yahuwah coming down himself. I'm gonna read it right now. This is what I'm reading it from. This is a great book. This is a fantastic book. I'm so glad Yahuwah led me to this book. The lost books, all the things to Yahuwah, the Bible, and the forgotten books of Eden. And as you see at the top, it says Biblical Apocrypha series. So it is the Apocrypha, not a question about it. You see, people want to pick and choose what Apocrypha they want. Come on, man, we got it. Apocrypha means hidden in Greek. It's just a vessel, Aki, I'm nothing. Yahuwah said he could make a man from rock. Who am I to lift myself up above my brethren who I love? I'm trying to get all us to the kingdom, boy. Let all us ball out. I'm trying to be in my mansion and hit my bro and be like, hey, man, y'all slide, boy. Let's patch up. Let's go half and half. Real talk. Like on some real talk, I'm all about my people, see? And that's the thing that's keeping me humble in a lot of us, because I know vengeance is Yahuwah's. Because I know a couple bros, myself included, but we would have been handed some of these heathens they neck, boy. And that's just real talking. I'm not talking big. We would have been handed some of them they necks, boy, and wouldn't even thought twice about it. That's real. So Yahuwah, the vengeance is his. So that's what keeps me humble. But the fact that I love my brethren is what's even drawing up that righteous anger in me. That made me want to wring some of their necks up off of their body. But I'm going to chill because my Father got us. So we all got to humble ourselves under Yahuwah and know he knows what's best. But anyway, let me read this last one. And I'm going to let y'all go. I'll stay to Yahuwah. Big fat. And all y'all, in the name of Yahuwah, man, Barak all y'all. Bless y'all. Barak y'all. May Yahuwah completely bring you to your fullness in his righteousness. Likewise, may Yahuwah bring you to your fullness in his righteousness, so that we may all receive of the promise that was given to us through him in the flesh, Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's continue on. Verse 3 in the book of Adam and Eve, the first book of Adam and Eve, chapter 14, verse 3 through 6. This is cut and dry. So this is why they got to negate that. This is a cut and dry verse. Half on what? Half on the party. You better believe we got righteous wine, righteous yayin, half on the party. Look, sis said half on what? Big fast. I was staying to you. Let me get this last one out of the way. And again, Yahuwah said unto Adam, all this misery that thou hast been made to take upon thee because of thy transgression will not free thee from the hand of Satan, and will not save thee. But I will, when I shall come down from heaven, and shall become flesh of thy seed, and take upon me the infirmity that was, and take upon me the infirmity from which thou sufferest. Sin, wickedness, death, the infirmity, pain, suffering. This is what Yahuwah took upon him, the things we're suffering from. Man, Yahuwah is so kind and merciful and gracious to do that. Crazy. Let's keep going. But I will, verse 4, when I shall come down from heaven, and shall become flesh of thy seed, and shall become flesh of thy seed, and take upon me the infirmity from which thou sufferest. Then the darkness that came upon thee in this cave shall come upon me when I am in the grave, when I am in the flesh of thy seed. This clearly just says that Yahuwah says, all this infirmity that thou sufferest in this case shall come upon me in the grave when I am in the flesh of thy seed. Yahuwah just told us he was coming down in the flesh of man. This is what he just said. This is why he came through Miriam or Mary. He came as the seed of man, but he what? Man, it's super deep. But watch this though. And I, Yahuwah speaking, who and without years, and I who without years shall be subject to the reckoning of years, and of times, and of months, and of days, and I shall be reckoned as one of the sons of men in order to save thee. And Yahuwah ceased to commune with Adam. So it just says that he's going to be reckoned as the son, one of the sons of men. Is that not what they reckon him as in the scripture? That says Yahuwah is the quote-unquote Yahushua is the son of man. No, Yahuwah. What verse is that? That's at the first book of Adam and Eve, chapter 14. You can read the whole chapter. There's only 6 verses, but I just started at 3. But chapter 14, verse 3 through 6. That's what that clearly says. Yahuwah said, I will come down when I am in the flesh, and I who am without years will be subject to the years. So wasn't Yahusha subject to day and night? Didn't he go to sleep? Didn't he eat and drink like us? Wasn't he reckoned as a man? Come on, man. These scripts, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. But today we got a lot. All staying to Yahuwah. So once again, this has nothing to do with this has nothing to do with in a debate or argument, or once again trying to make my bros look like they don't know what they're talking about. Not in the least bit, because man, I'm all trying to gather. But we see clearly here the word of Yahuwah reigns over all. Big facts. So if Yahuwah told me and us that when he comes down in the flesh, that's what I'm going to believe. He came down in the flesh. Period. It's really cut and dry. After all what we just went through, even 1 Thessalonians say that he coming back himself when Yahuwah himself should descend. This is all through the script. Revelation 21:3. Yahuwah himself will dwell with us. Revelation 22:14. The throne of Yahuwah and the Lamb are one. They're the same as that throne. There's no two entities. He says they will see his face, and his name shall be upon their heads. Now let's just line that up. ZakarYahu, chapter 14:9. And I know I said the last verse. I'm sorry. Oh, we got one more to go. Two more actually. ZakarYahu, and it's just off the dome Yahuwah gave me. ZakarYahu, chapter 14, verse 9. And it says, and Yahuwah shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Yahuwah, and his name one. This is what it said, one Yahuwah. Meaning that there's going to be no difference between Yahuwah and Yahusha, because the name is going to be one. And what is it going to be? It's going to be Yahuwah Zitkanu. Matter of fact, let me get that right quick, man. So just so we can do precept upon precept, because I'm not here to talk and tell you what I think. You get what read the whole chapter of 14 and 9. It's a lot of time, Aki, man. I would love to, man. But if they don't, I get what you're saying. You just posted that. So if they want it, they'll read it, Aki. But I definitely appreciate that. I'm going to just, matter of fact, I may do that after I do what I'm about to do right now. ZakarYahu chapter 14, now as we just said, there will be one. And talking about in the days where we're coming up to. And Yahuwah shall be king over all the earth. And in that day there should be one Yahuwah and his name one. How does that go? That goes to Revelation 22:14. That they all going to be on, it's going to be one throne. Lamb and Yahuwah. And then we have Revelation, what is it, 22? Let's see what it said. Where it says that his name will be the word of Yahuwah. Let me get there. I could have sworn I put that up here somewhere. I put so many notes. All the stinging to Yahuwah. That's all right. Let me see if I can find it right quick. You can definitely research. Look it up though. It says that his name will be, there was a vesture. No one knew his name except him. And his name was called the word of Yahuwah. Let me see. Hey Greg, can you get that? If you can, Aki. So if Yahusha speaks of the Father, are you calling him a liar? JC Trailer, you got a lot to learn, Aki. Go watch the video if you want to. If not, I already know what to tell you. I don't call him Christ, first of all. He's a Mashiach. And yeah, he was speaking to Yahuwah in the form of from the form of a man, but it was Yahuwah in the flesh. I don't know how you, after everything I just said, you still don't understand that. Maybe it's just not for you. All this thing to Yahuwah. But with that being said, what I'm doing is just pulling out precept upon precept. I really want to find that verse where it says, Yahuwah is Yahusha's father because he was conceived by the Ruach HaKadosh. Yahusha is the son of Yahuwah because he overcame all things. You only become a son of Yahuwah when you overcome all things. This is what scripture says. So this is why Yahuwah, this is absolutely, Aki, I got you. I'm definitely about to bring you in. Yeah, I'm going to definitely bring Greg in. Big facts. All this thing to Yahuwah. Let me do this right quick. Revelation 21:7. It says, he that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his Eluah, and he shall be my son. So the only reason Yahusha was referred to in the first place as Yahuwah's son is because he overcame all things. But that doesn't stop him from being Yahuwah in the flesh. It doesn't stop him at all because it's still a fact. It's Yahuwah's physical form. It is Yahuwah in the flesh. Big facts. Let me see if I can bring on my Aki, man. Let him drop a couple words. All this thing to Yahuwah, man. Big facts. Let's see what Greg say. Wait a minute. How you do that, Aki? It won't even let me. I don't know what's going on, Aki. It won't let me, Aki. Wait, let me try one more time. It won't let me, Aki. I don't know. My phone been acting crazy, man. I'm gonna try it again, but my phone been acting real crazy lately, Aki. I definitely wanted to bring you in. That's my Aki. All this thing to you. But see, Greg, if you can, right quick though, see if you can find that verse with me in Revelation, where it says that his name will be the word of Yahuwah. I had it underlined, but I don't see it right now. I don't want to waste too much time. I done kept these people long enough. All this thing to Yahuwah. My own understanding. Okay, no problem. So okay, I was saying to Yahuwah. The Ruach is Yahuwah. Big facts, Aki. That's not even the question. I'm trying to find that where it says that his name will be called the word of Yahuwah. Yeah, send a request, Aki, and then I'll let you in. And I can put you right in, yeah. You heard me, Aki, Greg? Let me see something, man. I'm trying to find it. Let me see if it's in here. No, not that one, Aki. I'm going to that one next. Jeremiah 23. That's Jeremiah 23:26. Yeah, I'm going to that one next, Aki. Oh, never mind. I found it. All this thing to your hook. Big fast. Revelation 19. Revelation 19. 11 through 3. See, this is another argument that people like to say. His name shall be... We don't know his name, and nobody's going to know his name, only him, because they stop reading where they want to stop reading. They don't never continue on. This is what they do. It ain't pop up, Aki. So what I'm saying, I don't know what's up with my phone, man. It didn't pop up. Your request didn't pop up, Aki. So maybe Yahuwah just want it like this right now. You know, we let him take control, Aki. All this thing to Yahuwah, but you know, you more than welcome on all my lives, bro. Big facts. You and Ben. What is it? Ben Zion, my big Aki, my elder. One of my elders. Well, my only elder right now, to be honest. But yeah, Aki, all this thing to Yahuwah. Revelation chapter 19, verse 11 through 13. And this is the last two, because this is going to prove again that one, not just oneness in the spirit or mind, one. Let's keep going. Revelation chapter 19, verse 11 through 13. And it says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And him that sat upon it was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he judges and make war. Now I just said he that sits upon the horse. So it's talking about the person on the horse. His name was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he judges and make wars. Watch this. His eyes were as flame of fire. and his head on his head were many crowns, and he had the name that no man knew, but he himself. No man does know his name. I don't even know his name. That Ruach in me does. Let's keep going. He had a name that no man knew, but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name was called the Word of Yahuwah. So the very next verse tells you what the name that nobody knows is going to be called. So when we go on to that, and it says that his name will be called the Word of Yahuwah. Let's go to Jeremiah 23:26. Bit fast. So this is going to line up precept upon precept. How does he not have a name that nobody will know when it just said his name will be the Word of Yahuwah? That's what it just said. All the thing to Yahuwah. Big fast. All the thing to Yahuwah. So Jeremiah, Yom Yahu, which means Yahuwah persists. Yahuwah definitely persists. You can't shake Yahuwah. You could try, but you can't shake him. Big fast. Hallelujah. Yahuwah. Let's keep going, man. Jeremiah 23:26. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. And then, where am I at? Boy, where we at? Boy, I want Jeremiah 23:26. No, that ain't it. Where I put that at? Boy, I went to the wrong script. Excuse me, y'all. Jeremiah 23:26. All this thing to you. Oh, man, I lost that verse. Forgive me, y'all. I apologize for that. All this thing to you. I must have jotted it down too quick. Well, it says his name, in that day his name shall be one. And his name shall be Yahuwah ZakarYahu. Yeah, Yahuwah ZakarYahu. Greg, go get that. I thought it was Jeremiah 26:23. No, that ain't it either, though. My Aki Greg gonna go get that for me. But long story short, we see right here that exactly, the book of Adam says that Yahuwah and Yahusha are the same, clearly. So what are you arguing with me about? What are you arguing with me about, Aki? All this thing to Yahuwah. It says the book of Adam and Eve says that Yahuwah and Yahusha are the same, clearly. There's no question about it. And everything we just went over, maybe you might want to watch the video again. Absolutely. Do some research on that book, Aki. Shalom. Big fast. When the word Jeremiah 23 is before that, Aki. Wait a minute. Jeremiah 23:26. Could have sworn it was Jeremiah 23:26, Aki. Jeremiah, it is Jeremiah 23. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I apologize. Jeremiah 23:6, not 26. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6. And it says, in his days, Yahudah shall be saved, and Yahushua shall dwell safely. And this is the name whereby he will be called, Yahuwah ZakarYahu. Yahuwah ZakarYahu. ZakarYahu means righteousness in Hebrew. It's saying his name will be called Yahuwah, our righteousness. Well, in Revelations 19, it just said his name will be called the Word of Yahuwah. Well, what is the Word of Yahuwah? Is that not our righteousness? Of course it is. So it lines perfectly up. His name will be called the Word of Yahuwah. And in our times, he will be called Yahuwah ZakarYahu, which means Yahuwah, our righteousness, which the Word of Yahuwah is our righteousness. So that's how you line up precept upon precept, line upon line. Not just what the surface say. Take that thing to Yahuwah, because of course this ain't from me. You know, anything I said, it probably don't mean nothing to some people, but you know, I did my job. I did what Yahuwah told me to do. I'll stay to Yahuwah. I'm just doing what I'm told. So once again, we see here in Jeremiah 23:6, Yahuwah ZakarYahu, meaning Yahuwah, our righteousness, lines perfectly up with Revelation 19:13, where it says his name will be called the Word of Yahuwah. But once again, people stopping and saying, hey, nobody knows his name, because Revelation says nobody's going to know his name. Well, keep reading 2 verses down. It's going to tell you his name is the Word of Yahuwah, and the Word of Yahuwah is our righteousness. Yahuwah ZakarYahu. I said all that to say, this Yahusha, his name is going to be turned to Yahuwah ZakarYahu. So where's Yahusha at? Where's Yahusha at? He's been in Yahuwah this whole time. Yahuwah been in Yahusha this whole time. They've been the same being this whole that time. That's just what it boils down to. The scriptures say that Yahusha is the firstborn of Yahuwah's creation. Meaning before he created anything tangible, before he created anything that you can physically see or put your hands on, he created a physical form of himself that was only created to do his will. We weren't only created to do his will. We've had Satan in us. We've had all kind of different unclean spirits in us. The body of Yahushua HaMashiach ain't never witnessed a wicked spirit in him. There goes the case. That's it. It all thing to Yahuwah. Big fat. So once again, his name will be Yahuwah ZakarYahu. The name of Yahusha will no longer be Yahusha, which means Yahuwah is salvation. That's going to be proven. We're all going to know that Yahuwah is salvation. If we don't know yet, we're about to find out very soon. But at that last time, all esteem to Yahuwah. At that last time, it says that his name will be called Yahuwah Zidkenu, which is Yahuwah our righteousness. And again, no man does know that. If we understand what he's saying, no man knows that, only the Ruach that reveals it to us. And even then, we don't know it. It's the Ruach in us. That's why King Daud said, Father, don't take your Ruach from me. So I told him that. Because if Yahuwah take that Ruach, well, we rummage, we crowd. You get what I'm saying? So it's only that Ruach in us that knoweth these things and that can guide us like this. And it's all esteem to Yahuwah that he even gave me the intelligence, that he used me as a vessel to put these together. Because once again, like I said, you know, if a person don't agree, cool, I still love you. But this is why I believe Yahuwah is Yahusha. I'm not going off of one verse, I'm not going off of 2 verses. And I got many more witnesses. All esteem to Yahuwah. But I'm going to pause right here. I'm going to let that thing rest. Because I feel like we ate a whole lot right here. And if we ain't get it by now, then there's really not too much else for me to say anyhow. You get what I'm saying? And once again, it all goes to the esteem of Yahuwah. I pray that this message has reached to those who it belongs to. Because it doesn't belong to everybody. You feel me? Y'all know that. It does not belong to everybody. But all esteem to Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahusha. For his big fast, for his Ruach. Thank Yahuwah. And man, I love y'all, and when I say that, I don't just say that like on a tangible, physical turn. I mean like, boy, about the word of Yahuwah. If you really trying to live by this word, boy, I go on the front line for you, because I know Yahuwah with me. You feel what I'm saying? I know Yahuwah with most of us, so I go out there, but let's do it. You feel me? I'm ready to put my hands on some of them anyway. Big facts. But guess what? Yahuwah said vengeance is his, so I'm going to just super cool. So when people see me all happy and cheerful, and then I can do about that. That's what Yahuwah put on me, because he know where I came from. I wasn't supposed to be here, man, but Yahuwah said I got other plans. So all this thing to Yahuwah. But man, may all y'all be Baruch in Yahusha, may all y'all be Baruch in Yahuwah's name. May Yahusha HaMashiach be Baruch in Yahuwah's name. And may all y'all have a magnificent rest of the day. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. Shalom, Mishpat.